Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a deep dive into the science of motivation.
Oh, yeah.
What really drives us, especially at work, in this crazy 21st century life.
It is a crazy time.
Yeah. Our main guide for this deep dive is going to be Daniel H. Pink and his book, Drive, The Surprising Truth About What Motivates Us.
Oh, a classic.
Yeah. And we're going to pull in some other really interesting research from psychology and economics, too.
Cool.
So are you ready to unlock your true potential here?
I am so ready. Let's do it.
All right. So Pick starts off with this really interesting story about Harry Harlow's monkey experiments. So these monkeys were given a mechanical puzzle.
Okay.
No treats, no punishments, just the puzzle.
Interesting.
Right. And guess what?
Right.
They loved solving it.
No way.
They were driven by just, pure curiosity and that satisfaction of figuring it out.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It really makes you wonder, do our reward systems ever get in the way of
Yeah.
our, natural drive to learn and explore?
It feels like it sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like intrinsic motivation,
Yeah.
at its purest.
Yeah.
Harlow even found that when they were offered food rewards for solving the puzzle, they actually did worse.
Oh, wow.
It's like the promise of a reward messed with their natural problem-solving instincts.
Yeah.
So weird.
Well, but this isn't just monkey business, right? This
Right.
applies to us humans, too.
Totally.
So Pink talks about economist Edward Deci and his Soma puzzle experiments.
Okay.
And he found that when participants were offered money for solving the puzzle, they were actually less likely to play with it later during their free time.
Interesting.
So it's like even the anticipation of a reward kind of dims our intrinsic motivation.
It's true.
Yeah.
Like the fun is kind of sucked out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He calls this the Sawyer effect.
Ah, okay.
After Tom Sawyer, who tricked his friends into whitewashing that fence by making it seem fun.
Right, right.
So the takeaway is that rewards can undermine our natural desire to do things just for the joy of it. And that has some pretty huge implications for how we think about work, especially creative work.
So let's say you're in a job where you're constantly being, measured and rewarded for hitting certain metrics.
Yeah.
Could all that pressure actually stifle your creativity?
Oh, absolutely.
And prevent you from coming up with truly innovative solutions?
Totally. It's like you get tunnel vision.
Mm-hmm.
Pink outlines 7 deadly flaws of carrots and sticks, and that's definitely one of them.
Okay.
It can extinguish intrinsic motivation, diminish performance, crush creativity.
Yeah.
Oh, and it can crowd out good behavior, encourage cheating, become addictive, and foster short-term thinking.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah,
So it's like if you're only focused on a reward, you might miss out on the bigger picture.
exactly.
Yeah.
It makes me think of those studies on publicly held companies,
Mm-hmm.
where the pressure to deliver those quarterly earnings can lead to decisions that hurt long-term growth.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's like they're so focused on those short-term rewards that they can't see the forest for the trees.
Right.
And this is where Pink's argument gets really interesting. He suggests that instead of relying on external motivators, we need to tap into our innate psychological needs.
Okay.
You remember Douglas McGregor's Theory X and Theory Y?
Yeah.
Theory Y recognizes the potential for self-direction and intrinsic motivation in employees.
Right.
Well, type I behavior takes this a step further by actively cultivating these drivers.
Okay.
It's about finding that sweet spot where our work aligns with our desires for autonomy, mastery, and purpose.
I like that. So it's not about ditching rewards completely.
No, not at all.
It's just about recognizing their limitations and creating environments that nurture those deeper motivational drives.
Exactly. Type I behavior isn't about rejecting money or recognition.
Right.
It's about recognizing that while fair compensation is essential, it's not the only driver.
Makes sense.
Once that baseline is met, we crave something more. We want to feel in control of our work, to continuously improve at something we care about, and to contribute to something larger than ourselves.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that.
For sure.
Okay, so let's dive into these 3 elements of type I behavior.
Yeah.
Autonomy, mastery, and purpose.
Right.
And we'll start with autonomy.
Okay.
This one really resonates with me.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt that boost in motivation?
Oh, yeah.
When you get to choose what you work on and how you approach it.
Totally. It's like a fundamental human need.
Yeah.
We crave control over our lives, and that includes work, for sure.
For sure.
Pink has some great examples of companies that are embracing this.
Yeah.
Like Atlassian with their ROWE, results-only work environment.
NOBP?
Yeah, so employees there have complete freedom over their schedules.
Wow.
And where they work, the focus is on the results, not FaceTime.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that must be so liberating for employees
Yeah.
to know they're trusted to manage their own time and workflow.
Totally.
Pink also highlights that 20% time concept.
Oh, yeah.
That, famously used by Google and Atlassian, where employees can dedicate a chunk of their week to passion projects.
Right.
Even if it's outside their normal responsibilities.
Yeah. And what's fascinating is that these policies seem so counterintuitive to traditional management.
Totally.
But they've actually led to some really cool innovations.
Like what?
Well, like 3M and the Post-it notes.
Oh, right.
That came from their bootlegging policy, which basically encouraged employees to, carve out time for personal projects.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
Yeah.
It makes me think about, my own experience a few years back.
Yeah.
I was given, free rein on a project.
Okay.
And I'll admit I was terrified at first.
Oh, yeah.
But it ended up being one of the most rewarding experiences of my career.
I bet.
The sense of ownership and that freedom to experiment really fueled my creativity.
Totally.
Yeah, and it led to some, amazing results.
That's autonomy in action.
Yeah.
It's not just flexible schedules.
Yeah.
It's empowering people to take ownership of their work and contribute in meaningful ways.
That's so powerful. Yeah.
So autonomy sets the stage.
Yeah.
But then mastery is what keeps us engaged and drives us to improve.
Exactly.
So we're talking about that drive to get better and better at something we care about.
Mm-hmm.
And Pink connects this to Csikszentmihalyi's concept of flow.
Yes. Flow.
Yeah, that state of total absorption, when you're so immersed in something challenging.
Yeah, it's like being in the zone.
Yeah.
Totally present and energized.
Right. Have you ever experienced that?
Oh, all the time.
It's like time just flies by.
Totally. Yeah, those flow states are crucial.
Yeah.
They're not just about feeling good. They're the building blocks of mastery.
Okay.
When you're fully engaged, you naturally push yourself to improve.
Yeah.
To refine your skills, reach new levels of competence.
Right.
And Pink outlines these 3 laws of mastery that I think are so insightful.
Okay, I'm ready.
The first is that mastery is a mindset.
So it's not just about innate talent.
No, not at all. It's about believing in your ability to grow and develop your skills.
This is where Carol Dweck's research on growth mindset comes in.
Right.
She found that people who believe their abilities can be developed, they tend to achieve more than those who think their talents are fixed.
Oh, wow. So it's about embracing challenges as opportunities to learn and grow, not seeing them as proof of limitations.
Exactly.
So instead of saying, I'm just not good at this, you'd say, I can learn this. I can get better.
Yeah, it's about shifting from fixed ability to continuous growth.
I love that.
But Pink doesn't sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
The path to mastery is not always easy.
Right.
His second law is that mastery is a pain.
Okay, so there's no shortcut.
No.
It takes effort, dedication,
For sure.
a willingness to push beyond your comfort zone.
You got it.
Think about any skill you've developed to a high level, whether it's playing an instrument or mastering a sport, or becoming fluent in a language.
Yeah.
It took time, consistent practice, and a lot of perseverance.
Absolutely. And probably moments of frustration, too. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Those times when you just wanted to give up.
Totally.
But pushing through those challenges is all part of the process.
Makes sense.
And this brings us to Pink's third law.
Okay.
Mastery is an asymptote.
What does that mean?
It means that true mastery is an ideal that you can get closer and closer to, but never quite reach.
Oh, interesting.
It's a lifelong pursuit.
That's actually kind of encouraging.
Right.
There's always room for growth.
Yeah.
Always something new to learn.
For sure.
If you could instantly master anything, wouldn't it get boring?
Oh, yeah, totally.
The journey is just as important.
I agree.
Okay, so we've talked about the need for autonomy.
Right.
The drive for mastery.
Yeah.
But there's this third crucial element to type I behavior that brings it all together.
Yeah.
Purpose.
Yes.
That feeling that your work has meaning, that it contributes to something bigger.
Exactly.
I think a lot of people, especially as they get older,
Yeah.
they start to crave that sense of purpose and significance.
Totally.
Like they want to leave their mark on the world. Pink actually mentions that baby boomers are entering this phase of life where they're reflecting on their legacy
Right.
and looking for one to make an impact.
And this desire for purpose isn't limited to just baby boomers.
Right.
Millennials are also known for wanting their work to align with their values.
Totally.
And make a difference.
It's not just about the paycheck anymore.
Right. It's about contributing to something meaningful.
Yeah. We see this reflected in companies like Tom S. Shoes,
Oh.
you know?
Oh, yeah.
Where every purchase helps provide shoes to children in need. Or the growing popularity of B Corp,
Right.
you know, businesses that are prioritizing social and environmental impact.
Alongside profit, exactly.
It's about aligning your work with your values, using your skills to create positive change.
It's not just about altruism either.
Yeah.
Studies have shown that purpose-driven companies tend to be more innovative.
Oh, wow.
They attract and retain top talent.
Makes sense. It makes you wonder, like, what if more businesses embraced this model?
Could we create a world where work wasn't just about making money, but about making a real difference?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about challenging the status quo and exploring new ways to align our work with our values
Totally.
and our desire to contribute to something bigger than ourselves.
I like that. All right, so we've explored autonomy.
Yeah.
We build into mastery.
Right.
And we've uncovered this like power of purpose.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and these three elements, you know, as Pink argues, are the keys to unlocking that type I behavior. It's like a whole new way of working and living, driven by our desires, not external pressure.
Yeah, it's a big shift in perspective.
It is.
You know, instead of thinking of motivation as something that needs to be like imposed from the outside, we can cultivate it from within.
I like that.
Yeah, it's about creating environments where people feel empowered to go after their passions.
Yeah.
You know, develop their skills and contribute to something bigger.
It's like we've been looking at motivation through the wrong lens. Yeah.
Instead of asking, how do we motivate people? We should be asking, like, how do we create the conditions for people to motivate themselves?
Exactly. And that's where Pink's insights become really practical.
Yeah.
He challenges us to think about how to incorporate these principles into our own lives.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
At work and beyond.
Well, he suggests some pretty interesting exercises.
Yeah, like what?
Like taking a flow test.
A flow test?
Yeah, to identify those activities where we feel most engaged and energized.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed, you know those moments
Yeah.
when you're so absorbed in something?
Yeah.
Time just flies by.
Totally.
Those are flow states.
That's flow.
And they're often clues to what really motivates us.
I see. That makes sense.
Yeah. And he talks about making time for deliberate practice.
Okay.
You know, dedicating some focused effort to honing a skill we care about.
Right.
So think about it like if you were learning a musical instrument, you wouldn't expect to just be amazing overnight. It takes consistent practice.
Yeah.
Pushing yourself, embracing those mistakes along the way.
Right. It's like that saying, practice doesn't make perfect, it makes progress.
Yeah, and it's not just work skills either. It could be anything.
Anything.
Learning a new language, picking up a hobby, or even just working on a relationship.
Totally. The principles of mastery can apply to like any area of life.
Yeah, where we want to grow and improve.
For sure.
Pink also encourages us to ask ourselves some deeper questions.
Like what?
Like what gets you up in the morning?
Oh.
What keeps you up at night?
Those are good ones.
These questions can help us uncover our values and find that sense of purpose.
That's so important.
It is. I remember reading this study where they asked graduating Harvard Business School students about their goals.
Okay.
You know, many of them talked about making money, being successful.
The classic.
But after the 2008 financial crisis, there was this noticeable shift. More students started talking about wanting to make a positive impact on the world.
Interesting.
Like using their skills for something bigger than themselves.
So that crisis forced them to reevaluate their priorities.
Yeah.
And ask themselves, like, what really matters?
And this desire for purpose, you know, it's not just a feel-good sentiment.
No.
Studies show that purpose-driven people, they tend to be happier, healthier, and more resilient.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So embracing type I behavior, it's not just good for us as individuals.
Right.
It's good for businesses and even society.
Totally.
It creates this win-win where everyone benefits.
It's about shifting from a culture of rewards to a culture of fulfillment.
I like that.
It's recognizing that people are not just cogs in a machine, you know, but individuals with their own talents and passions that can lead to like amazing results.
Well, you've given us a lot to think about today.
I hope so.
I think it's clear that those traditional models of motivation just aren't cutting it anymore.
Yeah, they're outdated.
It's time to embrace a new approach.
Like Pink says.
One that recognizes the power of autonomy, mastery, and purpose.
Absolutely.
So to our listeners out there, we'll leave you with this.
Right.
What if you could dedicate 20% of your time to a project driven purely by your own interests and passions?
I love it.
What would it be?
That's a good one.
Think about that.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.